Okay, so we're going to start the notes for our specialty problems. The first one is called codominance. And what codominance means is that two traits share dominance. Hopefully you can read my writing. So what that means is instead of just having one trait dominant, both of them are dominant. This occurs in Japanese 4-o'clock plants. They're also called snapdragons. And so what happens is we get blending. So for example, in this problem, in this type of problem, red and white are both dominant. So if a plant gets one red and one gene that's white, blending is going to occur. So you need to memorize the genotypes here. There are no little letters. Big R is going to represent a red plant. Big W is going to represent a white plant. And if you get one of each gene, an R and a W, then you get pink plants. So it's pretty simple. You're going to cross a red flowered plant, which is going to be RR, with a white flowered plant, which is WW. You do the cross as normal. So all of your boxes will have RWs in them. Okay. Okay, so for the expected phenotype ratio, all of our boxes are RW. So all of our offspring, 4 out of 4, are going to be pink, or 100% are going to be pink. And then for genotype ratio, it's going to be 4 to 4 RW, or 100% RW. So that's how you do these problems. Let's try one more. So we're going to cross a pink and a red plant. So using your genotype chart, red is going to be represented by RR, pink is going to be represented by RW. So you do the crosses the same. Remember, there are no little letters. Everything should be capital. Okay? And usually the R is written before the W. So RR and RW, your genotype percent are going to be 50% RR and 50% RW. And your phenotype percent is going to be 50% red and 50% pink. All right, moving on to a different type of problem. These are your blood type problems. And so this one is a little bit different. We're going to have a codominant situation because if you know anything about human blood types, there are 4 different human blood types. You have A, B, AB, and then blood type O. Well, in blood types, blood type A and blood type B are both dominant. And so they will blend to become blood type AB. And then you have blood type O, which is actually recessive. Okay? All right, so you have to use proper notation for this. All right, for blood type A, there are 2 ways you can be blood type A because you can be homozygous blood type A or heterozygous blood type A. When they write the genotypes for blood types, they always use the letter I. So a homozygous blood type A is going to be IA, IA. And that A is like to the power, like I to the A power. That is homozygous. A heterozygous blood type A is written as IA little I. So you're going to have to memorize this genotype chart. All right, same thing for blood type B. Blood type B homozygous would be IB, IB, with both those B's capital. And your heterozygous would be IB little I. Blood type AB, there is only one way to get a blood type AB, that is IA, IB. And blood type O is little I, little I. All right, so those are the letters that you have to use for genotypes for the problems. So if you're crossing a heterozygous blood type A person, that is going to be IA, little I. And you're crossing that with a person who has blood type AB, that is going to be IA, IB. Sorry, that's sloppy. All right, so our first box is going to be IA, IA. Our second box is going to be IA little I. Remember, little I is recessive, so it would be written last. Your third box would be IA IB, and your fourth box would be IB little I. So then you just analyze what you have. For phenotype, you're looking at what blood types do we have. So, box 1 and box 2 right here are both blood type A. So you're going to have 50% of your offspring are going to be blood type A. This guy right here is blood type AB, so that's 25% AB. And this one is B, 25% blood type B. When you do the genotype ratio, you're going to write it out. So, as you can see, all of those genotypes are different. So all of your genotypes are 25%. So you would write 25%, and you would have to write it out, IA, 25% IA little I, etc. So it's going to be 25% of each one. I don't have room. Okay, and so that is how you do a blood type problem. Let's try another one. Move this up a little bit for me. Okay, so you're crossing a person who has blood type AB, so that is going to be IA, IB, with a person who has blood type O, which is little I. So IA little I, IB little I, IA little I, IB little I. So my phenotype percent, both of these are blood type A, so 50% A, and these are blood type B, 50% B. For genotype percent, you're going to write it out. So 50% IA little I and 50% IB little I. And that's how you do blood types. All right, we have one more left, and these are called the sex-linked traits. And for sex-linked traits, the genes are carried on the X chromosome, not the Y chromosome, just the X chromosome. This occurs in a lot of traits, but the main ones that you'll see genetic problems for is hemophilia. Hemophilia is a bleeder's disease, is when the people who have it cannot clot their blood, so they will continuously bleed, and you'd have to go to the hospital and get a transfusion and get the bleeding to stop. Another one is baldness. And actually, I'm going to add a third one, add this to your notes, color blindness, which we talked about when we did bingo. These are all sex-linked traits. The gene for that trait is actually carried on the X chromosome. So when we do these problems, we have to use sex chromosomes. We're using XX for females and XY for males. All right, so there is also going to be a genotype list for these types of problems. I'm going to make them on the side here. If you are a girl, we're going to use hemophilia for our example. Girls can be X big H, which is normal. I'm running out of room here. Normal female. She does not have hemophilia at all. Hemophilia is a recessive trait. Girls also can be X big H, X little h, which means she's hetero, and she's also called a carrier, which means she can carry, she's got the gene right here, she can carry that gene onto her offspring, but she doesn't have it. And then girls can get hemophilia, it's rather rare, and they could be X little h and little h, and so they are called a hemophiliac. Hemophiliac. Hopefully you can read that. Okay. Boys are either X big H Y. Remember, there are no H's on your Y's, and that means they're normal. Or they're X little HY, which means they have it. Okay? So that is the list that you need to memorize to be able to do these problems. All right, so let's try. We're going to do two problems. Cross a hemophiliac woman with a normal man. So make sure every time you do one of these problems, you always are crossing a female with a male. So I would go ahead and put your XY first, and then on every single X, you need to put an H. So if she has hemophilia, she's going to have two little H's, and he is normal, so he's going to have a big H. So then when you bring the letters down together, it's the same thing. It's going to be X big H, X little h. X big H, X little h. X little hy, X little hy. Okay, so your X's go first, then your Y's. Make sure all your X's have the H's on them, and you shouldn't have a problem. All right, so phenotype percent, you're going to have 50% of our offspring are normal. You do not have to do this based on female and male unless the question asks you to. 50% of their offspring are going to have hemophilia. And then genotype percent, you would just write it out. 50% is going to be X big H, X little h, and 50% is going to be X little hy. All the boys are going to get it. Okay, so then you're going to, let's do another problem. You're going to cross a woman carrier, she is X big H, X little h, with a hemophiliac man, which is X little h, X little h. Oh, I messed that up. That should be X little h. Sorry, this is an easy mistake to do, is to put 2 X's there. All right, so for your first box, you're going to have X big H, X little h. Your second box is X little h, X little h. Third box is X big HY and X little hy. Genotype percent would be 25% of each. They're all different, and you would write that all out. Phenotype percent, you're looking to see who has hemophilia and who doesn't. So you have 2 of them right here that do not have hemophilia. So 50% of their offspring are going to be normal, and 50% will not, and they'll have hemophilia. All right, and that finishes up your notes.